Well, my adventure continued after the visit with Vinoba Bhave, which I recorded in another video. I flew back to Calcutta and had to stay there for the night until taking another flight back to Bangalore from Calcutta. And I had arranged with the friend who set up the meeting with Vinoba to stay in the home of a young radical Indian revolutionary type guy in Calcutta at his home. And so I had his phone number, and as soon as I got to the city, middle of the afternoon, I started calling him. No answer. So I walked around the city. I explored a little bit. And while I was looking, I stopped in some hotels and just to find out what might be available if I needed a place to stay that night. Well, it seems that there was a huge convention in the city. So every hotel that I stopped in was full. And so I was just wandering around the street. Luckily, I only had one little shoulder bag, so I didn't have to carry much. But as the afternoon turned into the evening, I was getting hungry. So I went to a Chinese restaurant. And it was a pretty good Chinese food, actually, in an old Chinese restaurant there in Calcutta. And then I kept looking with no results for a place to stay. And I kept trying to call my friend, and or my friend's friend, and no answer, no answer. And then finally, and I was walking through the streets of Calcutta, and all of the street people, the homeless people, families were laying out pieces of cardboard on this sidewalk. And there were men who were washing themselves under their sarongs and on the curb, and there was just a terrible situation. And I really had to start thinking, well, what if I have to borrow part of one of their pieces of cardboard and join the family for the night stay on the streets of Calcutta? And it was possible because this man just never answered. And so finally, before I could start walking around the street and trying to find the nicest, most comfortable looking piece of cardboard on the sidewalk, I went back into the Chinese restaurant and borrowed their phone. And this time when I called, finally the man answered. And he gave me the directions on how to get to his place. So I took a taxi. At this time, it was like 10 o'clock at night. I took a taxi, and it was about a 20-minute drive out in taxi to his home. And then we were sitting around, and he was a Marxist, so he didn't like Vinoba at all. He didn't like anything that was going on in India. And so we had this long discussion, and until I was just so tired. It was almost midnight. Hadn't had any sleep. I didn't sleep for 4 days in the house on the concrete. So I was really exhausted. And finally, he showed me a sofa, and I slept on the sofa. And in the morning, he helped me get a taxi to the airport. And that was the end of my very memorable evening and potentially disastrous night on the streets of Calcutta. So that was, and I sure hope that you never have to go through anything like this, but it's a good story anyway, right, buddy? Take care and love to your mom and dad. Bye.